Now, there are a lot of things that you can do to persuade your audience to your side. And in chapter 15, it's titled Tools for Persuading. And you see a lot of this stuff within, debates. You use certain things to convey the judge, the person in the back of the room, or the audience, that your side is correct. Your side is the side that you want to vote for. Tools for persuading. Again, a lot of this is repetitive and we've talked about it. The first thing you want to do is you want to make sure you understand who you're talking to. Because if you're going to, appeal to emotion, people from New York are going to feel much more attached to 9/11, a story about 9/11, than someone from Mississippi. Not to say people from Mississippi, you know, don't feel sorry for those individuals that were killed during that tragic event, but for people in New York, they're more likely to relate to that incident because it happened to them. They saw it. They lived through it, and they're more than likely to have lost a loved one from that event. So, a persuasive speech focuses on the listener's options, whether to think one way or to think another way. And you want to convince them that your way is the correct way. Now, how do you do that? You appeal to pathos, ethos, and logos, and we've already talked about this. Emotion, logic, stuff like that. Emotion's pretty powerful, and that's something that can really grab your audience. Now, the parts of a persuasive argument, and this is what I really want to focus on, are the claims, the evidence, the warrants, and I want to add one more. The book only gives you three, but I want to add one more. And in the debate world, it's called the impact, and the impact is the most important thing. So you have the claim, evidence, warrants, impacts. The claim is the thing you're claiming. You're claiming that, the United States should pull out of the Middle East entirely. The United States military should withdraw from the Middle East entirely. There's your claim. Your evidence for that claim is, you pull a source from the New York Times, a credible source. Remember, it has to be a credible source. You pull a credible source from something like the New York Times that the United States, according to the New York Times, April 5th, 2018, the United States military has made little or no progress in the past 2 years in their fight against the Islamic State. It's not true, it's just an example. Has made no progress, against the Islamic State. It's forcing the American taxpayer to pay trillions of dollars. And, is increasing civilian deaths in the area. There's the evidence. The warrant, and kind of almost like, I'll pull it up for the book. The warrant is basically defined how do you justify moving from this evidence to the claim. And the warrant basically says that this entire operation, the United States being within this region, is only harming not just the American taxpayer, but the people that live there. The impact of that statement, the United States being there, is that not only is the United States paying millions of dollars, future generations are being affected. People are being killed in the hundreds of thousands in the past couple of years while the United States has been entrenched in this region. It's contributing absolutely no benefit whatsoever to the American taxpayer, but more importantly to the people that actually live there and are going through this horrendous war. Nothing is being done. Future generations are being destroyed. There is no economic way that the people of these Middle Eastern countries can rebuild due to the fact that the infrastructure within these nations has been destroyed by United States airstrikes. That's the impact. You want to push why this is important, why the audience needs to understand this, and that eventually will get them to come to your side. So the impact and the way you structure that argument is probably one of the most important things. And then again, you wrap everything up with a conclusion. And in terms of evidence, though, you want to make sure your evidence is credible, but also it's recent. And in the debate world, it's called the rule of recency. So whenever you have two conflicting pieces of evidence, let's say, again, going back to the Middle East, according to The Economist in an article published August 12th, 2002, the United States is making tremendous progress in the Middle East. There's one. Then there's a conflicting piece of evidence that says the United States isn't making tremendous progress in the Middle East. But the difference is because this article is from 2002, this article is from 2018. And according to the rule of recency, this article, it says the United States isn't making any more progress, is much more credible because it's more recent, due to events that may have changed in the past, in the past 15 years. 17 years, excuse me, 16, that other article is more credible than the other because it's more recent. So using things like that is going to lead to a more persuasive speech.